Three tomatoes are walking down the street. Papa tomato, mama tomato, and baby tomato.
Playing Catch-Up presents.
Starring Lindsay Hinkle and Jamie Nelson.
So this is Playing Catch-Up, is it? I prefer something with a little more kick.
Everybody's favorite condiment-themed entertainment podcast.
Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby!
Hot sauce.
Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
You're listening to Hot Sauce on PlainKetchupPodcast.com. I'm Jamie Nelson, and with me, my co-host, Lindsay Hinkle.
Hi, people of the internet!
Today we are talking about comedy, more specifically, crowd warm-up. And, let's get the show started. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Jamie.
How's it going?
Oh, you know, the usual. How about you?
Unusual, but that's normal for me.
So, I'm pretty grateful that we don't have a live studio audience.
Oh, yeah? Me too. This show is highly edited.
Highly. Mostly because I have such a potty mouth, I swear like a sailor.
Oh, I usually keep those bits in.
You do not.
Do you not listen to the show?
I only listen to about half of them because I hate my own voice.
Lindsay, if you listened to this show, we would double our listeners.
Yeah, I should get on that.
Actually, we've almost hit 2,000, so woot.
But, I mean, I have the personality of 2,000 people.
Wow. So who am I talking to right now?
Coriander.
Coriander. Is your last name a state?
Are you making a reference to identity?
Of course I am. Why would I not?
You tried to slip that one past me.
Speaking of states, there are probably, 8 states between the two of us. That's a random guess, but that would be quite a big studio audience. That would definitely increase our listenership.
I think it would be pretty daunting because, like, what if they weren't in the mood to laugh? And here we are, like, saying all this hilarious stuff because, you know, we're pretty hilarious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's not that they don't think we're funny. It's just that...
We're not funny.
No. It's that we're funny. But they haven't, like, started the laughter. You know, you gotta have someone get them started, you know? Like, are there people that do that? You know, kind of like how in the winter you start up your car and you let it run for a few minutes before you take it out?
Yeah, you know what? I think there are, because I went to a taping of a TV show called Would You Rather, hosted by Graham Norton, and there was this guy who came out, and he was, like, when the cameras weren't rolling, and he was telling jokes, and he was, like, interacting with the audience and stuff, and I was like, wow, that guy looks really familiar. I don't know what he's doing. I guess he's sort of, like, warming up the crowd or whatever. And then I realized that over a year ago, probably 2 years ago, I had videotaped this guy at something in New York City called Laughter in the Park, where comedians come out into parks and they do stand-up for free. And when I first moved to New York, even though I moved here, I was still in this tourist mental state, so I was videotaping everything. I videotaped the most random stuff. I have video of you and Luke swing dancing in my dorm room. Like, I taped everything.
Hey, we are excellent swing dancers.
So that guy that I had videotaped that I saw warming up the crowd at Would You Rather, I emailed him a bit later and I said, hey, I saw you warming up the crowd. I think I've seen you before. Are you the guy who has a joke about invisible chess? And he wrote back and said, yep, that's me. And I was like, will you be on our podcast? And, dun 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 dun, we have him in studio today. So, welcome to the studio, Craig Baldo.
Hey, Craig, what's up?
Hey!
So for our audience who doesn't really know what it is, do you want to describe it a little bit?
Anybody who's ever been to a live taping of a television show, what will happen usually is that you wait around for about an hour and a half, standing in a small room without air. Not really, but it's usually they shows book audiences because every live show needs an audience, and they need every seat filled. So they keep you standing around because they're trying to keep tally, and sometimes people drop out.
It's not terribly glamorous.
Well, it's not glamorous at all. So by the time you get loaded into the audience, into your seats, you need to be addressed by somebody and maybe quote unquote warmed up from after standing around in in a holding area for so long. So that's why I was talking about the fact that you might have to wait in a line or out in a room. So you get introduced to whatever it is the show's about. Hi, welcome to, like, you went to see Would You Rather with Graham Norton. So I came out and I said, well, welcome to the show. This is what it's all about. This is who you're going to see today. This is when you need to laugh. Treat you like puppets. Laughing, of course, is your own thing. Usually there's no reason for me to make you laugh, but clapping in and out of commercial is very important, and that's something that, back in the day you had audience applause signs, but a lot of studios don't come with that. There's not someone hired specifically to flash an audience applause sign. Some shows do that, but a lot of them don't. So you need people there to kind of like wave their hands around to like give you this signal to start clapping because we're going to commercial. So anyway, so that's what we do, and as a stand-up, it's fun. I mean, it's pretty much an exercise in like crowd work, which is obviously the art of talking to an audience, which is what stand-up comedians, if you go to a stand-up show, a lot of times they'll go out into the audience. Where are you from? What do you do? Where do you go to school?
You have a silly nose.
Yes, exactly. And then everybody, yeah, like laughs at that. And it's funny because it's when you break down that fourth wall and you have like the performer actually talking to the audience, it's fun for everybody because for some reason it's like anything as an audience warm-up person, anything I say to an audience member gets like 10 times the laugh than like if I had said it to that person in a normal situation, like if we were just like sitting around a table, because I'm putting focus on one person, and it's everyone there is just excited that there's like someone's on stage and there's like performance and there's, so you know what I mean. So if I say, hey everybody, look at this guy's shirt, everyone will laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Normally that's not funny.
So you get much bigger laugh than if it was like, in a restaurant or something. But how would you say the audience feels in that situation compared to like like in a comedy club and you're doing traditional stand-up? How's that different?
It's the same. I think it's the same thing. It's still you're someone on stage. And although it might be more orthodox to call people out in a comedy club because you're a comedian, you're still sort of breaking down the fourth wall. You're still kind of, busting through the stage lights into the darkness of the audience and being like, "Hey, you there with the green hat, where like you look, that." Yeah, I think it's the same thing because suddenly you're this I'm just a dude. It's not like I have superpower. I mean, yeah, I'm a professional comedian, so I guess you have a little bit, and I have a microphone, so I'm louder than everybody else. And I guess that just tunes people into saying, "Oh, what's this guy gonna? This guy's a professional. What's this guy gonna say about that guy?" It's I think we all have friends that are good at razzing each other. So it's I don't think to me it's not anything different than like what you'll do with your friends when you like poke fun at people. I just it's just in a professional, and it's one stranger to another, and just as much as people are going to see someone make them laugh, they're paying to see a person behaving on stage without fear, because people are afraid of stand-up comedy. People, not just going to, like, they're not to say that they're afraid of sitting in the front row and getting picked on. They're afraid of the fact that a human being is going through something that terrifies them if they were ever to do it. So it's like a spectacle. It's almost like we're paying to go watch someone behave on stage, which is something we could never do. It's like it's paying to go see somebody do like brain surgery. Like, wow, look at that person is actually, going into someone's brain and fixing it. It's like, we're paying for that. And so, that being said, when they, when they see that person kind of coming out into the audience, it's kind of just this behavioral thing that they're kind of marveling at, and that's why I think they'll laugh louder. They'll laugh harder at something that's so benign. Something that really doesn't. It might not be that funny. It's just amplified because that person has got a microphone and they're doing something that's really scary.
I feel like, at least for me, part of it is also sort of like you're nervous because you're like, please don't pick on me, please don't pick on me, and sort of that nervous gets like translated into like laughing.
Oh yeah, a lot of nerves. The whole audience is nervous. I don't know if they're nervous more for themselves or for the person on stage, you know? That's part of it. It's just like I'm nervous because and when someone bombs, it's totally awkward. I mean, some people, I don't know, there's probably some assholes out there that are like, yeah, like they like to see somebody, crumple and like be weak. But I think a majority of like compassionate people are afraid for the person on stage. Even if you don't know that person, you're like, I don't want to witness someone having, a mental breakdown or something or seeing something so scary on stage. Like, can you imagine? That's like everyone's worst nightmare is to like be in front of a bunch of people and having them just stare at you and not understand or listen or react or engage in what you're saying.
Sympathetic, like awkwardness.
Yeah, exactly. Like just like, oh God, that poor guy. And then it just and you're sharing it with all these strangers around you. You know, it's that weird like kind of moment, like when you're on the subway and well, if you live in New York City and someone crazy walks by and is like babbling and you're looking at the stranger like you're embarrassed. You don't want to be there and you're like, oh, and this person is like and you almost share that with a person sitting across from you. Look up, like, I can't believe that guy's wearing a diaper and like he's drooling, you know what I mean? Like
Sure. Or even if, like if they're interacting with other people. Like I remember once on the A train that there was probably like me, one other guy, and this woman. And the woman decides that the other guy on the train was the Antichrist. And she just started screaming at him, "You're the Antichrist! You're the Antichrist!" It was like this teenage kid who just wants to be left alone. You feel bad for him, but
yeah, I mean, he probably, I find crazy people in New York to be a bit clairvoyant and insightful. The kid was probably the Andy, but it was embarrassing. Yes, I'm sure you guys were both like, let's switch trains, but then you all switched to the same train, so we just continued.
How do you get a gig like Crowd Warm Up? Do they go and seek people out? Or did they put up a job posting?
I get everything through LinkedIn. I'm just kidding. I don't. I was just a plug for LinkedIn because I work for them now. That's where my career is going. No, it's I did a couple things for like the MSG network, but Colbert Report was one of my first steady gigs,
Oh.
which I don't do anymore. It's been years, but I've probably done the Colbert Report like 40 times or something. It's like I'm sort of a fill-in over there. They've got a list of guys now, and I probably fall like third or fourth on the list because they have Paul Mercurio, who's the Daily Show warm up. He's been there for years, and he pops across the street to do Colbert sometimes because they shoot at different times, and the studios are close to each other. But since I started doing that, what happens is the production people at that show will be asked by other people, who do you have? Who could you recommend someone? And as soon as you get into that loop of being like a warm up guy around town, the phone starts to ring a little bit, which is cool because I don't necessarily want to be the guy at any place because it's you're kind of tied to a job. Like my friend Seth, who does Jimmy Fallon, he needs to be at the NBC studio every day between 5 o'clock and 6:30, which is it's not a lot of time to be to make a good amount of money, but it is an obligation. They want you're part of a and since you're not like Jimmy Fallon, he's not Jimmy Fallon. I mean, Jimmy Fallon can kind of, he can rationalize going to the studio every day because it's his show and it's his career. But the warm up person is just like, oh, well, what if I want to shoot a movie or what if I get a part in a commercial or something? I can't, what if I want to do a college gig during the week? It's like you just can't do it. You have to be there because shows don't like you to take off either. Shows hire you because you sort of say, okay, yes, I'm putting this as a primary commitment in my life, and I will do whatever I have to do to be here for every show so we can keep this ship running at a consistent rate, and we don't want a lot of things changing up on we have a routine, a set routine, and we like that. And so it's not good for people who want flexibility in their life and their time.
Right. Have you gotten the opportunity to do a lot of work on the road? Have you traveled around?
I used to. I don't do as much anymore. I was up in Syracuse last week. I was at Bonnaroo over the summer, but mostly now I just got married a couple weeks ago. So
Oh yes, congratulations.
thanks. So that keeps me here more. I prefer. I mean, you got guys like Jim Gaffigan who's got 4 kids, and he's one of the stand-ups in the world, and the guy doesn't he blows my excuse. That's what pisses me off about Gaffigan. It's just like, oh, it's a family or a stand-up career. You can pick one or the other. And no, it's like, look, I'm killing both of these things. I look at him and I'm like, Arr. For me, I don't want to be out.
Sure.
And I'm certainly not making $150,000 a gig to make it worth me going on the road to support my family. You know what I mean? Like I'd be making $900 in Indianapolis or something, which is, it's not a bad night's work, but if it means getting on planes and
diner food
and hotel, so I try to keep the road. I'll try not to do more than 1 or 2 a month.
Does warm-up pay better than a local stand-up gig?
Some gigs, it's like you do a 20-minute set and you get paid $5,000, and another set you do you go to Vegas and you do 12 shows in a row at a club and you get paid $1,200 for the week. And I would take either of those gigs, to tell you the truth. I mean, maybe not the $1,200 for a week. I'd probably get bumped up a little bit more. That was back in probably 2004. But for warm-ups, most shows you get like a union rate, like after rate. It's an after gig. It's the Federation of Television and Radio or something.
Oh, sure. I know that one.
I'm not a big fan of that union, but I'm in it.
Are you going to get kicked out of the union for this?
That's okay. I don't mind saying that. And it's pretty good money. So it's like, when you consider the time that you're putting in for the money, I mean, especially in this economy, at the Daily Show, it's like Jon Stewart is good about, they have such a routine over there. A lot of times you'll have to do longer warm up because the show might be, it might be like a fledgling show or something, and they're doing rewrites, and it goes overtime, and you're out there for like 50 minutes, in front of this crowd that came to see Stephen Colbert or whatever, and at minute 30, you always get this look from the audience, as if they're all saying at you collectively, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah,
you are. Like, we didn't pay to come here to see you. We paid here, to come see Colbert. So I think it always behooves a show to get their shit together.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you when you're either doing warm-up or stand-up or any sort of on stage in front of an audience event?
I opened for Michael Winslow once, which was really funny. And he was fun. He's the guy who makes all the sounds in Police Academy movies.
Oh, okay.
He seems like he's really trying to make a go at a straight stand-up. He wants to tell jokes, but I don't think that's why his audience is there. So he'll get up there and be like, so this blah, 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 jokety joke. And then it'll be titters in the audience. And then he'll just be like, oh, screw it. And then he was just like, beep, boop, 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 boop. And then they erupted. I thought that was really funny. Those are some fun shows. He's a really nice guy. Great with the noises though. He's really taken that noise thing to the next level. There was one time when John Mayer jumped on stage in the East Village when I was doing a show. I was sidekicking for Seth Herzog at Sweet, and John Mayer did stand up.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, and he got on stage, and I give a stand up about a C minus. Well, there's one gross joke that John Mayer told where he started just mimicking himself having sex with a girl and how he sings to them. And it was like, that's exactly what you don't want John Mayer doing in front of you. That's exactly why he's got that kind of reputation, because he does the douchiest things like that. And so when he started doing that, and it was creepy because, someone's singing voice is different than their speaking voice. So he was just setting up the joke. He's like, yeah, well, I'm good with the ladies because every time I bend one over, I stuck on, your body is a what? And he busts out into the John Mayer voice, and it was like, ew.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was just like, I need to be excused. And the audience enjoyed the fact that it was John Mayer, and so they went along with his stuff. But then after he got off stage, and the next comedian got up, Kumail Nanjiani, who's a friend of mine, and he's a very funny stand-up guy. He's from Pakistan.
Did he start singing?
Of course, Kumail, as any good comedian would do, starts commenting on what just happened. Was that John? I never thought I would get up on stage and say, hey guys, how's it going? Give it up for John Mayer. Because John Mayer had brought him on. And so he started addressing the fact that he had just been brought on by John Mayer. And John Mayer used it as a cue to get back on stage because he thought that's the way crazy alternative downtown comedy rooms work.
Oh.
And he got up on stage as it was, like to say, like, isn't this going to be fun? I'm going to jump up with this guy, and it's going to be this little kind of like duo comedy act kind of sketch or whatever, and he gets on stage and he starts making like racial jokes.
Oh, jeez.
What are you, some kind of like a CNN reporter, like an Indian guy with a British accent or something? Because he was trying to act as like a comedian in in a comedy club. People make race jokes all the time, and they're funny because the guy knows how to do it, and he knows how to, whether he's an insult comic or something. Everyone knows that they're just there. But John Mayer he didn't know how to do it, but he jumped in. It was just in over his head, and people turned on him. And it was so weird to be in a comedy room where people are like booing at John Mayer. And after the show, I talked to him and I was like, John Mayer, listen. He's like, no, I'm just John. I'm like, no. I couldn't stop calling him John Mayer. Because that's what it was. And he's like, oh man, I feel so bad for what just happened up there. I think I'm going to cry. And I was like, do not cry, John Mayer, in front of me. I do not want to be comforting John Mayer right now. That'd be so weird. He felt badly. And I remember everyone in that room hated him that night. And Kumail always tells that story on stage, and everyone he tells it to probably hates John Mayer too. But I think I'm the only one who ever defends him.
Aw.
He was just trying to be funny. He was just trying to show off.
And aren't we all?
No one will ever believe me. No one ever has sympathy. Probably not even you, Jamie. But I do believe I broke through to John Mayer that night. I could really see how vulnerable he gets. I mean, he's just a nerd from Connecticut, even though he's one of the biggest rock stars in the world, he's still just like a kid who's trying to like be like cool.
So everyone should lighten up. Give John Mayer a chance.
Yeah, give him a chance. Guy's not so bad. Even douchebags have hearts, Look at the situation. Look at no, he's pretty vapid, but that's what, if I put out an album, that's what it would be called. Douchebags Have Hearts.
And then he can comfort you if people don't like it.
Well, he better after the shoulder I gave him to cry on. He better remember who the hell I am. That was the only one there for him.
Aww.
John Mayer. He's like, I know, when I'm on stage, I just want to be called John. I'm like, sorry, that's not who you are to these people. You're John Mayer.
Like the opposite of Cher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there venues you regularly appear at?
Yeah, these days I seem to be all over the place. I know I enjoy. Eugene Zimmerman has a fun Sunday night show at the Union Hall. There's a great Wednesday night show that I like to show up at Cameo. It's called The Big Terrific, hosted by Max Silvestri and Gabe Lehman.
Is that in Brooklyn?
Yeah, it's right in Williamsburg. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just there Friday. They had a concert.
Yeah, you go into the back room.
Yeah, where apparently they have no heating, and when there's nobody in there. Whew.
Hopefully, either they'll turn the heat back on, or the comedy will be so good. Anyway, I'm not really. I don't have a residency these days, but I do have a website though, craigbaldo.com, and you can Craig Baldo is also my Twitter handle. If you want to follow me there, go check out my tweets. I only tweet funny. I don't have little bantering conversations with like Todd Barry and other people on Twitter. If you sign up for me, you'll only get funny jokes. I won't promise them every day, but if you read something, it's not going to be that I'm eating a sandwich at a cool little cafe.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, I try to keep that because, you don't need your Twitter account clogged up with people's random. Anyway, so I like to accumulate Twitter followers because it's really like probably the funniest thoughts I have all day will go there, and that's all you'll get.
That's terrific. So everybody should go check out Craig Baldo on Twitter, CraigBaldo.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a good night.
It was my pleasure, Jamie. Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
Oh, no, it was very good.
Okay, cool. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
This has been Hot Sauce, brought to you by PlainKetchupPodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes.
Check back every Monday for a new celebrity guest interview. You may also want to check out our hilarious Wednesday videos on youtube.com/planketchup. That's PLAINKETCHUP. Sign up for our newsletter on planketchuppodcast.com to be entered into our monthly drawings. We give away t-shirts, music, stickers, and more from our guests. Please like us on facebook.com/planketchup and follow us on Twitter @planketchup. Don't forget to support this project by buying Plain Ketchup swag at our Cafe Press store. Have a question? Email Jamie and Lindsay at gmail.com. That's JAIME and LINDSEY @gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay saucy.
Maybe we could get someone like Chris Rock to warm up for us.
Okay. I'll get on that, shall I?
If Chris Rock opens up for us, then people will be like, oh, that must mean that they're like super really funny, which means that, they have to laugh to look good in front of the people around them, because if they don't laugh, it'll look like they're too stupid to get the joke.
Fantasyland.
Fantasyland. Or Neil Patrick Harris.